Welcome back to Space is Lonely, where we're looking at some of the new ships for Battlestar Galactica Starship battles. And I kind of got a little overeager when these arrived, and I opened up the Cylon Heavy Raider. At least I took the shrink wrap and the plastic off on the inside. But this is an unboxing video, not an unshrink wrapping video, so I think it's still technically an unboxing for this heavy Cylon Raider. I've never done an unboxing before. This is my first one. I'm going to try to speak in low tones because I have a friend who watches unboxings when he has insomnia. Apparently, they're supposed to have some sort of soothing ASMR effects on people. So maybe you're not interested in Battlestar Galactica, but you're just looking for a good night's sleep. So let's start off with, actually let's do this model last because this one I find very strange in several ways. Let's start off with the various Raptors. Now you may see that these have a similar tan color scheme, and for a game that doesn't have a lot of ship models, I guess this is one strategy that Ares Games is using to get multiple models on the table. I'm a fan of this different color scheme because at least you could differentiate between different players a little bit. Maybe it's also a bit of a money grab. Excuse me. But I'm a sucker for Battlestar Galactica, so I'm going to be picking it up. And I also want to support the game as much as possible to encourage more product. So we have here a generic Raptor, SAR ECM. Despite being a huge fan of the show, I'm not quite sure what ECM is. SAR is search and rescue, and sort of evidenced on the back here when they give the descriptor. The Raptor is an excellent tactical craft for search and rescue operations. All right, so let's give this a go using my trusty ear spoon here. If you've never used an ear spoon, they're quite popular here in China, where I live, Shanghai. Okay, let's move these out of the way. All right. So I live here in Shanghai, China, and when I buy these products, I feel kind of weird because I'll usually order them from overseas. So while these are made in China, they travel first to the West and then they come back to their birthplace here in China. All right, so we have here the model, obviously, and the various stat cards. Oh, some tape there. Okay, oh, only one stat card. Okay, so this is a generic stat card. The attack is going to be more difficult to achieve, obviously, because this ship is not primarily for combat. It's used for transporting people or cargo, small military cargo. It's got a stronger structure than the Viper, 2 more structure, and it's going to be a bit of a bus. It's going to have a slower acceleration. I love that Starbuck is just drinking from the bottle on the flaws. It's one thing that distinguishes this show from more traditional epic sci-fi. Let me do a hard edit here. All right, the ear spoon's not cutting it. We're gonna have to come out with the big guns here. Wow, this is so hard to open. I'd love it if there was like a pull tab on these things. All right, so we're going through the skulls. What is this? Oh, it's the name of a pilot. It's a call sign for a pilot. Okay, got things like Dratus Jammer, ECM, so maybe we could figure out what ECM means. I gather the M is a missile. Is there an E in here? Okay, let's keep moving. Scanners, which makes sense. In the show, the Raptors were noteworthy for finding things like Tillium and the algae planet and various other things, resources that were needed by the crew. Okay, some new skills. I don't recognize any of these skills really. I think these were in it already. As usual, there's how many times you could use the skill and on what roll I think it will activate. I believe that's how it works. So for example, this could be used anytime. You could take off without needing to wait any turns after the one in which you rearrange orientation after landing. Ooh, that's interesting. So will there be scenarios that will be available on the website for these ships where they could land and take off? Don't remember any landing and taking off in the base set. Okay, going to the maneuvers. Shrink wrap is off these. I love these cards, but sometimes they do get a little frayed, so hopefully one day Ares will produce some sort of sleeve to protect these. So the highest number on the maneuver is 15 for the turn, so it's really just 14 maneuvers, which makes sense, again, because it's not going to be as agile as the other ships. Not as many overboosts, only straights and banks. Okay, but it can reverse. Okay, so here's the base. I believe it should be the same size as the original bases. Yeah, okay. And we'll just stick this right on there. I'm really not an expert when it comes to washes and paints, but as usual, it looks very competent. And wow, as usual, there's some really tiny text, I'm sure. I don't remember in the show if the Raptors had their names emblazoned on the side or on the side of the ship, but you have things like step. Not sure what these are. Okay. And the most I would ever do to a model like this probably is maybe just stick some blue into the exhaust to make it look like it's got its thrusters on. All right, so that's the generic ECM SAR Raptor. I've never done these unboxings. I'm not sure if you're supposed to show every single unshrink wrapping, or if this is just stuff that should be edited. You let me know below. But here we're looking at the named pilot Boomer. Actually, is this Boomer? Yeah, Donatino. This is the first draft of the Cylon model known as Boomer. Sorry, I should have said spoiler alert, but if you're playing this game, it's probably you're aware of most of the 12 Cylons at least. Okay. So again, a very similar paint scheme. Okay. So here we have two pilots. We probably have the same exact card as the previous unboxing. So that looks pretty same. Okay. And then with Sharon Valeri, excuse me, wow. She has more talents than your typical generic. She has a hit modifier, has a little bit of a bio, and the flaw will be distracted, which does gel with the show quite nicely because she always seemed to be, doubting herself and daydreaming about possibly doing something terrible because she is a Cylon after all. I don't think it will be fruitful to open this because this is going to be probably the same as the last maneuver deck we looked at. We'll see if this has any differences. I cut my nails prior to this video because I realized that if I'm doing an unboxing, I should be somewhat well manicured. It's getting pretty nasty. Okay, I will not be working for QFC. Okay, captured transponder, planetary scanners, unarmed, and then we have some talents. Oh, I see. So these ones with the blue banner are gear. These are upgrades for the ship itself, and these are for the pilot. Okay, so ship pilot. I didn't sleep much this morning. Last night I woke up at 4 in the morning, so I'm not burning on full thrusters right now. Psychologists. You can tail a spaceship even if the ruler connecting the stands does not cross one of the 3 rear sides of the tail base. All other tailing requirements still applied. So you're getting in their head? Is that why it's a psychologist? Troubleshooter? Fast learner. Okay, of course, distracted is going to be a flaw. So if we look at let's just look at the gear upgrades, because those are a new phenomenon. So comparing these gear upgrades to these here, yeah, these are all different. That's good. All right, so more incentive to buy multiple copies of a Raptor. Okay, you got like this mottled camouflage look, kind of like that. Okay, last one. The Assault Combat version. I think there's actually a different in the mold on this one. Just one, same stats. Okay, yeah, let's just go right to the model first, because yeah, if this is going to be some sort of assault ship, it's going to have different weapons. Okay, so actually these are the same mold. There's just some sort of added pieces on the bottom here. Cool. Okay, so not all the pilots get a full-size card. I guess all the full-size card pilots are reserved for sort of the day-to-day characters in the show, whereas Racetrack, well, I think she's in all 4 seasons. It's obviously not a household name with the casual watcher. So Racetrack, also very talented. Not flawed, but this card is flawed. Oh, no, it's plastic. Okay. So this also has ECM, but then it's got some heavy guns and some rocket pods. Okay. Attack value of the rocket is 6, +2 at short range. Okay, and these are talents I believe we've all seen before in other ships. Okay, so those are the 3 Raptors. I probably should have kept them on screen, because that's really the star of the show right there. These are the stars. Okay, so they all have friends they could play with. They're all jealous of this one here. This one's doing some sort of mail run. This one's just like delivering a diplomat to PyCon or something. But this one is severely intimidating people. All right. Now, speaking of severely intimidating, this is insane. Look at the size of that. And I believe I saw an image online, and I think it comes with the same size base as a normal ship, but I'm not quite sure. I did unbox this earlier today, but I quickly put it away because I realized I was at work and my coworkers were looking at me funny. Okay. This is pretty good. There's no name for this pilot, obviously, because unlike Scar, Most of the other pilots are sort of generic. Well, there is a name, but we just don't understand what it is. Okay. Whoa, that's slow. It's acceleration of 2. It's a beast to get through, though. It's like sort of a tank, and it's got an attack of 8. So this is crazy big. Okay, let's just use a typical Raider next to the Heavy Raider. The reason why I didn't know this was so big was in the Fantasy Flight board game of Battlestar Galactica, there were plastic minis for that as well, and these are pretty similar in size to these. And we don't see these very often in the show in a place where we can compare its size to a reference point. So, for there sometimes are boarding parties, but it's kind of few and far between. I did open this maneuver deck, and this is kind of surprising. There's only one boost. That's it. All right, so quite limited. It's got the tight turn, which I believe the Raider didn't, but it might have been not the 90 degrees, but may have been the really severe hairpin. I don't exactly remember. But all speed turns are available. That base looks the same size, actually. That's going to look a bit awkward. I mean, I'm sure that there's a reason for that. If it were a bigger base, it might give it some sort of moving advantage. Sometimes in games, big vehicles have bigger bases, and therefore they kind of cheat a bit when they choose their maneuvers. I'm looking at you, X-Wing and Gaslands mostly. I shouldn't have cut my nails. That was a mistake. Okay, are there any, there's no equipment for this, all right, and these look like talents we've seen before. So I only picked up this version, the veteran version, partly because I'm fooling myself into thinking I'm only going to get one, and I know I should just save on shipping and get all 3 at once. But these are substantially more expensive than these, and I was wondering why, and now that I see how much plastic is used, it's clear why. So I think these retail for like $15.25 in the US. Here in Shanghai, it's a little bit more. So I think I paid like 17 versus like 28 for this. But considering that it's probably been shipped back and forth across the world, I think that's not a bad price. I don't have patience to wait until I go back to the States. I need to play with my toys. Delayed gratification is not my strength. All right, guys. So this is the base again, and I think it's going to look a bit awkward. It's not too bad. I wonder if there are any sort of restrictions on its ability to rotate. I doubt it. There's really no instructions in this box. There's no campaign. There's no adventure. So I think maybe that stuff will probably come online, sort of like a PDF module or something like that. And we know he's a veteran because it's gray. It's been graying over the years. It's an old man.